My name is Emily Parker. I'm 34 and I live in Seattle. If you had met me a year ago, you probably would have said I was the classic good daughter. Independent, hardworking, always putting family first. I used to believe that too. Until one Tuesday morning at the bank when I found out that my entire life savings were gone. Not because of some hacker, not because of some crazy scam, but because of my own parents and my little brother. This is how I found out, how they tried to take everything from me, and how I learned to stop being the obedient daughter and start protecting myself. 1. The morning at the bank that broke my illusions. That Tuesday was supposed to be boring. I took a half day off work to go to the bank. A CD, certificate of deposit I'd locked in 5 years earlier, had just matured. The plan was simple: move that money into a better account and finally use part of it as a down payment for a small condo that would be mine alone. That CD was nearly 10 years of savings from working in tech, plus severance from a previous layoff, plus all the vacations I didn't take, the shopping I skipped, the nights I stayed in to save. It wasn't just money, it was my safety net. My, if everything goes wrong, I'll still be okay. Plan. The bank rep helping me was a young woman named Ashley. She smiled, logged into my account, started typing, then her face changed. Her smile faded, replaced by a small frown. Um, Ms. Parker, can you give me just a second? She said. Sure, no problem, I answered, still relaxed. She typed a bit more, then rotated her screen slightly toward me. I'm so sorry, she said carefully. But it looks like this CD was already closed out. About 3 weeks ago. I stared at her. I'm sorry, what? She pulled up my account details. There it was, in clear text. Status, closed, closing date. 3 weeks ago. Amount disbursed, 140 skate, 13.27 Barbie. My heart started pounding. There must be a mistake, I said. I never closed it. I haven't touched this account for 5 years. Ashley bit her lip, then switched to another window. Well, she said, it shows here that the CD was closed using a power of attorney. Someone came in with paperwork giving them permission to act on your behalf. She clicked again. A scanned document popped up on the screen. Here it is, she said, turning the monitor a little more. This is the power of attorney we have on file. I leaned closer. It was an official-looking form. My full name. Social security number, address, all correct. The document stated that I had given someone else the right to act as my agent and withdraw funds. And at the bottom, in neat script, was my name. My signature. A perfect copy of it. My skin went cold. I know my own handwriting. I know how my E's curl, how my R trails. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that I had never signed this paper. My voice came out small. Who? Who did I supposedly give power of attorney to? Ashley swallowed and pointed at a line near the bottom. Agent Jason Parker, she read. Is that your brother? I felt like the floor shifted under me. Jason Parker, my little brother. It sounded almost funny in my head, like a bad joke told at the worst possible time. There has to be some mistake, I said. There is no way. I never signed this. I wouldn't forget giving my brother power of attorney over a 6-figure account. Ashley glanced between me and the screen, slipping into that careful bank voice people use when things might get serious. The document appears to have been notarized, she explained. We have it recorded as valid. The notes say your brother came in with the paperwork and everything checked out at the time. Came in? I repeated. I was at work all day that day. I didn't come here. We do have security cameras, she said, but it's been a few weeks. I'd have to ask my manager how far back we can pull footage. Something inside me snapped into focus. Please do, I said. And I need a printed copy of that power of attorney. Because whoever signed this, it wasn't me. That's a forged signature. That's fraud. Saying that word out loud felt surreal. Fraud. About my own family, Ashley's eyes widened a bit. I'll get my manager, she said quickly. While she walked away, I stared at the screen. My name, my supposed signature, my brother's name, over $146,000, gone. Not because of some stranger overseas, not because of a phishing email, but because someone who knew my full name, my SSN, my address, had walked into my bank and pretended to be me. And in the middle of the panic, another thought came in, quiet and sharp. This didn't come out of nowhere. This is what happens when you spend your whole life being the responsible one in a family that thinks everything you earn belongs to them. 2. The good daughter, which really meant come last. From the outside, my family looks very normal, very American, very wholesome. My dad, Robert Parker, is an electrician, the classic quiet, dependable guy who helps neighbors fix things without asking for money. My mom, Linda, works part-time at a grocery store, spends the rest of her time cooking, going to church, and volunteering for every community event under the sun. And my younger brother, Jason is the golden boy, 3 years younger than me, the smart son, the future of the family. From the time I was little, I heard the same lines over and over. Emily, you're the big sister. You have to look out for Jason. Let your brother have it, Emily. You're older. You understand more. Emily, girls are more mature. Jason's a boy. He needs more support. When Jason wanted new sneakers, my mom would say, "We'll get you some too next time, honey," and then buy his first. When I got straight A's and Jason barely passed, my dad would say, "You're a girl. You'll be fine. Jason needs more help. You're already good." When we didn't have enough money for both of us to do activities, Jason got travel baseball. I got dishes and homework. I learned early that being a good daughter meant don't complain. Don't ask for much. Always make sure your brother is okay, even if you're not. So I played my role. I studied hard, got a partial scholarship, took out reasonable student loans, worked part-time all through college, campus library, coffee shops, tutoring. I was the first one in my family to graduate. Jason, on the other hand, got into a more expensive private college. When my parents realized they couldn't cover it, I overheard them fighting in the kitchen. "I don't know where we're going to get that kind of money," my dad said. "I don't want our son to be at a disadvantage," my mom replied. "Emily can take care of herself. She's so capable. Jason needs this." Guess who started sending money home from sophomore year? At first, it was a little here and there. Then, I worked full-time every summer and sent more. After graduation, when I got a tech job, I helped pay down their credit cards. I even paid part of Jason's student loans when he couldn't keep up. Month after month, year after year, I got used to being the financial safety net, and my parents got used to thinking of my income as family money. No one asked, "Emily, do you have enough for you? Emily, what are your goals? Emily, do you want to save for your own life?" They said things like, "Money in this family is for the family. You're the one with the good job, Em. It's only right that you help Jason. Later, when he's successful, he'll take care of you." So, of course, I helped. Because that's what good daughters do. The house that was supposed to be mine. At 31, I was finally at a point where I could breathe. Most of my student loans were paid off. I had a decent savings cushion. I was working at a mid-level position in a tech company. Not rich, but stable. And for the first time, I thought, maybe I can buy my own place. Seattle real estate is brutal, so I looked at townhouses in the suburbs. After months of saving and searching, I found one. Not huge, but cozy. In a safe neighborhood, within my budget. I did everything myself. Hired an agent, dealt with the mortgage broker, read the purchase contract line by line. Signed the grant deed in my name. Emily Rose Parker, a single woman. It was the first time in my life I felt like I was building something just for me. I FaceTimed my parents to show them. "Look, this is the living room," I said, walking around with my phone. "There's so much natural light. Here's the kitchen. Upstairs, there are 2 bedrooms. One's mine, and the other one is for guests. If you ever visit, you can stay here." My mom smiled, but there was something off in her eyes. "It looks nice," she said. "You did good, Emily. Buying a house on your own, that's impressive." Then, casually, she added, "Have you thought about putting our names on the deed too?" I froze. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Well," she said sweetly, "if your dad and I are on the deed, then it's really a family house. If anything happens, at least we're all protected. You're a girl, sweetie. One day you'll get married. Things can get complicated with property." My dad chimed in, "Yeah, we're not trying to take anything from you. We just want to be connected. It's safer if the house is in the family's name, not just yours." In a flash, every memory of sending money home, hearing it's all family money, being told Jason needs more than you do, came flooding back. For the first time, I pushed back. I'd rather keep the deed in just my name for now, I said. Later on, I can make a will if I want the house to go to the family. But this place, I need it to be mine. Not because I don't trust you, but because I want to own something on my own. There was a pause, then my mom switched tones instantly. Fine, she said lightly. If that's what you want, as long as you're happy. But after that, every time I visited, there were little comments. Now that you have a house, don't forget about your brother. Jason is still struggling, you know. You're doing so well, Emily. I thought it was just talk, annoying but harmless. I was wrong. 4. Back at the bank, from family matter to financial crime, Ashley came back with a middle-aged man in a suit, wearing a name tag that said, Manager Paul. He shook my hand and led me to a small office. Ms. Parker, he said, laying a printed sheet on the desk. This is the copy of the power of attorney on file. I picked it up. There it was. My full name, Emily Rose Parker. My social security number, my address. The agent's name, Jason Robert Parker, brother. And at the bottom, Principal, Emily R. Parker. Agent, Jason R. Parker. A notary stamp, Karen M., with an address not far from my parents' house. This is not my signature, I said, my voice steady. I have never met this notary. I have never been to that office. I never signed this document. Paul frowned. Do you suspect anyone in particular of forging your signature? He asked. The shame I felt in that moment is hard to describe. I was about to tell a bank manager that I believe my own family had stolen from me. My younger brother, I said, and I think my parents may have known. I can't prove their exact involvement yet, but I know I didn't sign this. And they're the only ones who have this much information about me. Paul nodded slowly. From the bank's standpoint, he explained, if you're claiming this is a forged document, we'll open a fraud investigation. You'll need to fill out a dispute form. We'll review camera footage, internal notes, and we may contact the notary. I also advise you to speak with an attorney, especially if you want to pursue this legally. I want to fill out the form, I said immediately, and I want copies of every document associated with this CD and this power of attorney. He slid me a stack of papers. I sat there in that tiny office, hands shaking, signing a fraud claim against an account I had opened with hope years before. In the back of my mind, another voice whispered, you signed check after check sending money home. You signed on to every responsibility they handed you, but this is the first time you've ever signed something to protect yourself. 5. The first phone call home. And the invisible slap. Outside the bank, I sat in my parked car for a long time. I knew what I had to do next. Call my mom, I dialed. She picked up on the second ring, cheerful as always. Emily, hi honey, everything okay? You don't usually call this early. I didn't waste time. I went to the bank today, I said. The CD I opened 5 years ago, it's empty. It was closed 3 weeks ago. Over $146,000 is gone. Silence. Then my mom said, in a tone that made my stomach twist, oh, that one. The account you weren't really using, right? My blood ran cold. That one, I said slowly. Yes, the one in my name. When exactly did you find out it was not being used? She sighed. Emily, don't be dramatic. Jason just borrowed it. He's been in such a tough spot, you know that. He lost his job, his wife is pregnant, the rent, the hospital bills. We didn't want to stress you while you were busy, so we just handled it. Handled it? I repeated. By forging my signature? Do you realize a fake power of attorney is a crime, Mom? That is fraud. That's not borrowing. Don't use ugly words like that, she snapped. He's your brother. We're your parents. We're not strangers. Money in this family is for the family. Jason just needed it more right now. When he's back on his feet, he'll pay it back. I felt tears burning at the corners of my eyes, but I kept my voice as steady as I could. I have helped Jason for more than 10 years, I said. I've paid for his school, his rent, his car, his debts. I have paid down Mom and Dad's credit cards. I have spent my 20s and early 30s putting everyone else first. This CD was the one thing that was supposed to be just mine. You had no right to touch it. I heard a door open in the background, my dad's voice. What's going on? My mom answered, loud enough for me to hear. Your daughter is accusing us of stealing from her because Jason used her account. My dad grabbed the phone. Emily, what is this I'm hearing? He demanded. You're talking nonsense. You are our daughter. Jason is our son. There is no your money and his money. There's only family money. We needed it for your brother. We didn't think you'd make such a big deal. You didn't think I'd make a big deal? I echoed. About 6 figures being taken out of my account behind my back? Watch your tone, he snapped. We sacrificed a lot for you. If your mother signed for you, that's as good as you signing. You should be grateful we're helping your brother instead of some stranger. Mom can't sign for me at the bank, I said slowly. That's not how the law works here. And if you used a fake power of attorney with my forged signature, that is not helping. That is illegal. My mom snatched the phone back. If you dare take this to court, she said, her voice low and sharp, you won't have a mother anymore. Is that what you want? To destroy your family over some money? I closed my eyes. Some money. My entire safety net. My years of sacrifice. My future. I don't want to destroy anything, I answered. But I'm not going to pretend this is okay. 6. It wasn't just the bank account. That night, I barely slept. A new fear crawled into my mind. My house, the deed, the mortgage. As far as I knew, everything was in my name alone. But after the CD, I realized I couldn't trust what I knew. In the middle of the night, I opened my laptop and went to the county recorder's website, where all property records are public. I typed in my name, Emily Rose Parker. My original grant deed appeared, the one from when I bought the townhouse. I opened it. Grantee, Emily Rose Parker, a single woman. Exactly what I remembered. I scrolled down. Then I saw another document, recorded 2 weeks earlier. Quitclaim deed. My heart started racing. I clicked it open. The first line said, for valuable consideration, Emily Rose Parker, a single woman hereby quitclaims to Robert and Linda Parker, husband and wife, and Jason Parker, a single man, as joint tenants, all rights, title, and interest in the following property. Translation: according to this document, I had voluntarily signed my entire house over to my parents and brother as joint owners. At the bottom, my name, my forged signature. Again, the same notary stamp, Karen M. This time, I laughed. It was a hollow, disbelieving sound in an empty house that might not even legally be mine anymore. In less than a month, my family had emptied my 6-figure savings through a forged power of attorney, filed a quitclaim deed transferring my house into their names, without telling me, without asking me, without me signing a single real document. If I hadn't gone to check on my CD, I might have been blindsided later by something much worse. A notice telling me to get out of a house that was no longer legally mine. I sat there, staring at the screen, and for the first time in my life, I admitted, this isn't a misunderstanding. This is a plan. Thought out, executed, using the system against me. 7. My best friend and the lawyer, saying my family defrauded me. Out loud, the next day, I told everything to my best friend, Maya. We'd been close since college. Conveniently, Maya is also a civil litigation attorney. We met at a quiet coffee shop. She listened to the entire story, the CD, the power of attorney, the quitclaim deed, without interrupting. When I finished, she didn't say, I'm sorry, or maybe there's a misunderstanding. She asked one simple question. Do you still have all your old texts, emails, bank transfers to your parents and Jason? Yes, I said. I never delete anything. Good, she replied, and her whole demeanor shifted into lawyer mode. Then here's the situation. We're looking at least 2 separate acts of fraud. 1, financial fraud with the CD. 2, real estate fraud with the house. I swallowed hard. They're my parents and my brother Maya, I whispered. I don't want to send them to jail. I don't want to be that person. She looked straight at me. Emily, she said quietly, they forged your signature, twice. They used a notary. They walked into a bank with fake documents. That's not an accident. That's not a simple mistake. That's a decision. I stared at the table. She picked up a pen and started making a list. 1, contact the bank's fraud department. Follow up. Push for an internal investigation. 2. Contact the county recorder to report a forged deed and file a notice of dispute. 3. Send a cease and desist letter to your parents and Jason demanding they stop all activity related to your assets. 4. Gather evidence. Every bank transfer, every message where they asked you for money, every proof that you've been supporting them for years. Then she looked up at me. You don't have to press criminal charges right away, she said, but you must protect yourself. If you do nothing, they will keep going. Because right now they think you won't fight back. It was the first time in my life someone stood fully on my side, not the family's side. It felt terrifying and strangely relieving. 8. The confrontation at my parents' house. That weekend, I drove 3 hours to Tacoma, where my parents live in a quiet little suburb. American flag on the porch. My dad's work truck in the driveway, a house that screams ordinary family. My mom opened the door. There was no warmth in her eyes this time. What are you doing here? She asked flatly. We need to talk, I said. About my CD. And my house. My dad was on the couch. Jason stood by the kitchen, beer in hand, eyes avoiding mine. I set my laptop on the coffee table and pulled up the documents. I went to the bank, I began. I got a copy of the power of attorney you used to empty my CD. I went on the county website and found a quitclaim deed transferring my house to you and Jason. Both documents have my signature. I didn't sign either of them. I turned the screen so they could see. My dad crossed his arms. So, he asked, what do you want? That question hit harder than I expected. No denial. No surprise. Just, what do you want? I want to know why, I said. Why go behind my back? Why not ask me? Why forge my signature and use a notary instead of having an actual conversation with your own daughter? Jason snorted. You're always so dramatic, he said. It's family money. Mom and Dad said you weren't using it. That CD was just sitting there. You've got a good job, a house, no kids, no husband. I'm the one who's struggling. It's only fair. I turned to look at him. Forging someone's signature is a crime, Jason, I said calmly. So is using a fake power of attorney to withdraw money. So is filing a forged deed. This isn't fair. This is felony-level fraud. His face turned red. Watch how you talk to me. I'm your brother. You wouldn't have anything without Mom and Dad. Now you're going to throw that in their faces. My mom cut in, voice sharp. That's right. Did you forget who stayed up with you when you were sick? Who worked extra hours so you could go to school? We gave you everything. And now, because we used some money that you weren't even touching. You want to label your own parents as criminals? My chest ached. I haven't forgotten anything, I said quietly. But raising your child does not give you the right to forge her signature on legal documents and take her property. That's not love. That's entitlement. My dad slammed his hand on the coffee table. Enough, he said. You're going to tear this family apart over money? Jason needed help. We decided as parents that this was the best way. You're just being selfish and ungrateful. If you still consider us your family, you'll drop this. Jason will pay you back slowly. We'll pretend this never happened. I took a deep breath. Every cell in my body wanted to shut down, to apologize, to back off like I had 1,000 times before, to be the good daughter again. But another part of me, the part that had filled out fraud claims and talked to a lawyer, spoke up instead. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. This is a cease and desist letter from my attorney, I said, placing it on the table. From today on, you are not allowed to make any transactions using my name, my accounts, or my property. I've already spoken with the bank and the county. There is an active fraud investigation. My mom's eyes widened. Have you lost your mind? She screamed. You got a lawyer? Against your own family? Jason swore under his breath. What the hell is wrong with you, Emily? You really think some piece of paper scares us? I looked at him calmly. This isn't about scaring anyone, I said. It's about drawing a line. I am not your bank. I am not your safety net. I am not a signature you can copy whenever you want something. I picked up my bag. If you're willing to sit down with lawyers and work out a plan to return what you've taken, I'm open to resolving this quietly, I added. But if you keep pretending this is nothing, I will let the legal system decide what it is. I walked toward the door. My mom shouted after me. You walk out of this house today. You're no longer my daughter. I stopped for a second on the doorstep. Her words cut deep. But this time, they didn't control me. Without turning around, I said, "You sold that title the day you decided my signature was worth more than my trust." And I left. 9. The investigation and the notary's confession. The next few months were exhausting. Maya helped me push the bank's fraud department. They pulled security footage from the day the CD was closed. The video showed Jason, my mother, standing at the counter. No me. No one remotely resembling me. The bank also sent a formal request to the notary, Karen M., asking her to confirm how she had notarized the power of attorney and the quitclaim deed. At first, Karen defended herself. "I always follow protocol," she wrote. "I always require ID. If Emily Parker's signature is on those documents, she was present." Maya responded with, "A copy of my driver's license." The footage from the bank showing my mom and Jason, but not me. Records showing my work badge clocking in and out in Seattle on the day those documents were supposedly signed in another city. Under pressure and facing the threat of losing her notary license, Karen finally agreed to meet. In that meeting, with a bank investigator and Maya present, she admitted, "Mrs. Parker, my mom came into my office with the power of attorney already filled out," Karen said. "She told me her daughter had signed it already, but was too busy to come in and she just needed it notarized." I believed her. I didn't actually see Emily sign it. I know that was wrong. "And the quitclaim deed?" Maya asked. Karen looked down. "It was the same situation," she said quietly. "Mrs. Parker said her daughter agreed to transfer the house to the family. I asked if her daughter needed to be there, and she said no, that it was just paperwork within the family. I stamped it based on trust. I realize now I shouldn't have." The fallout. The bank agreed to provisionally restore my CD balance while the investigation continued, since their employees accepted flawed paperwork. The notary faced disciplinary actions and had her license suspended. The county placed a dispute note on my property records, blocking any sale or loan using my house until the matter was resolved. Did that fix everything overnight? No, but it did something important. It stopped my family from being able to quietly move or sell my assets. 10. Court saying, "My parents defrauded me in public." Eventually, things escalated to where I never wanted to go. Civil court. With Maya's help, I filed a lawsuit against Jason for financial fraud with the CD, my parents for participating in the forgery and benefiting from it, and for their role in the forged deed. The day in court, I wore a simple white blouse and black slacks. My hands were shaking, but my back was straight. The clerk called, "Case number XXXX, Emily Rose Parker versus Jason Robert Parker, and Linda Parker." My family sat on the other side of the room with their own lawyer. They didn't look at me. Their attorney tried to spin it as a family misunderstanding, that I had always intended to help Jason, that I had verbally agreed to let my father handle my finances. That paperwork was mixed up, but there was no malicious intent. But the evidence said otherwise. Bank footage of my mom and Jason without me, the notary's confession on record, the clear mismatch between my real signature and the forged one, work logs proving I was in Seattle on the days I supposedly signed those documents in another city, years of messages showing me sending money home, paying their debts, helping Jason. When it was my turn to testify, Maya asked, "Emily, why did you bring this case to court, knowing it meant suing your own parents and brother?" I looked over at them. My mom stared straight ahead. My dad stared at the floor. Jason glared at me like I was a stranger who'd ruined his life. I turned back to the judge. "Because," I said, my voice shaking but clear, "if I didn't, I would lose more than just money and a house. I would lose any control over my own life." I told the court how I had supported my family for years, how I bought my house with my own money, how I discovered my CD was drained, how I found the forged quitclaim deed, how my parents and brother told me I was overreacting and that this was just a family matter. "I'm not suing them because I hate them," I said. "I'm here because they treated everything I have as if it was automatically theirs. They believe that because they are my parents and my brother, they had the right to sign my name without asking, to move my money and house wherever they wanted. They called it helping family, but the law calls it fraud. I need the court to say clearly that what they did was wrong. that this is not just family business, that my signature, my accounts, my house, those things belong to me, not to anyone who feels entitled to use my name. The room was silent. For the first time, I didn't feel like a disobedient daughter. I felt like an adult speaking the truth. 11. The verdict and a different kind of loss. Months later, the court issued its ruling. The CD withdrawal was declared fraudulent. The bank was ordered to fully restore my funds, and they now had the right to pursue Jason to recover the money. The quitclaim deed was declared invalid because it was based on a forged signature. The court confirmed that the house belonged 100% to me. The notary lost her license for a period and had to pay fines. My parents and Jason were ordered to stop any attempts to manage or touch my assets and to pay part of my legal fees. On paper, I won. I got back my savings, my house, and my legal control over my own life. But emotionally, I lost something else. My mother sent me a long text. From now on, don't come back to this house. This family has no place for a daughter who drags her parents and brother into court. My father never reached out. Jason sent one last message. Hope you're happy with your house and your money. Don't ever call me your brother again. I cried many nights. No matter how reasonable the facts were, I was still the girl who had once thought, if I just help them enough, they'll see me. They'll appreciate me. They'll love me the way I love them. But when I wavered, Maya reminded me, you didn't destroy your family, she said. They chose to protect control and money over your autonomy. You didn't burn the bridge. You just stopped letting them drive trucks full of stolen goods over it. 12. Life after. When I'm no longer the good daughter. A year later, my life looks very different. I still work for the same company, but I negotiated more flexible hours and some remote work. I invested time and money into making my house truly mine. I repainted the living room the color I like, planted flowers out front, bought a dining table that I love, not one I thought my parents would approve of, hung a big painting in the hallway, something I bought for myself, something I would have called unnecessary before. I also started therapy. In therapy, I realized I'd been raised to believe my value depended on how much I could sacrifice for others. Saying no made me feel guilty, even when I was clearly being taken advantage of. I had never truly seen myself as separate from my family's needs. Now, I'm learning. I can help when I choose to, not when I'm guilted into it. I'm allowed to have savings that are just mine. I'm allowed to enjoy what I've worked hard for. I stopped sending money home. I increased my contributions to my 401k and opened a Roth IRA. I saved for travel. I started taking vacations. I bought things I wanted without calling my mom to ask, do you think this is okay? Sometimes I see my mom's Facebook posts, family pictures without me, captions like, family is everything. Only the loyal ones stay together. I don't click anymore. I don't go into the comments to see who says what. Instead, I tell my story to people who may need to hear it. Oldest daughters who feel like they're substitute parents, adult children whose families treat their paychecks as communal property, immigrants and first-generation kids who are told, this is just how family works. I tell them what I wish someone had told me earlier. You can love your family and still have boundaries. Family is not a free pass to steal from you, and you are not a bad daughter or son for protecting what you've built. 13. If you see yourself in my story, if you're reading this and thinking, oh my God, this sounds like my life, here's what I want you to know. 1. Family does not erase consent. Parents, siblings, relatives, they can all do wrong. Recognizing that doesn't make you a traitor. It makes you honest. 2. Paper matters. In a country like the US, documents are everything. Don't sign what you don't understand. Don't let anyone sign for you. Check your property records and accounts regularly. 3. You're allowed to say no. You are not a walking wallet, not a backup plan, not an investment that has to pay endless returns because your parents raised you. 4. Protecting yourself is not betrayal. Using the law to defend your rights doesn't mean you stopped loving your family. It means you stopped allowing them to harm you with no consequences. Will I ever reconcile with my parents and brother? I don't know. Maybe someday, if they accept that. I am not their asset. I am not an endless resource. I am not responsible for cleaning up their choices. We might build something new. But for now, every morning when I walk down the stairs in my house, I look around and think, This is mine. Not because a judge said so, but because for the first time in my life, I stood up and said, no more. I'm not their good little girl anymore. I'm Emily Parker, and my life finally belongs to me.